At 85, Harold wasn't expecting much from life. He had slowed down, avoided stairs, and moved like a man made of glass. Every step was careful, every chair a small victory. Then came the fall. It wasn't dramatic, a trip on the garden hose, but the pain was immediate. His hip fractured, and so did something inside him. "I felt like life was trying to put me away," he said. The hospital stay was short, but the fear lingered. Not just fear of falling, but fear of becoming useless, of slowly turning into a man who couldn't trust his own legs. That fall forced Harold to ask a powerful question. Can I rebuild my strength? Is there still time? During his recovery, Harold became obsessed with understanding what makes bones strong. His doctor offered pills, but Harold wanted more than medication. He wanted a natural solution. He began reading articles, watching documentaries, and asking older friends. That's when he stumbled across a forgotten piece of advice from an old friend, a retired nutritionist. Don't underestimate the power of okra. Okra? That slimy green pod he used to push aside as a kid? He dug deeper. What he found shocked him. Okra, also known as lady's finger, is rich in vitamin K1, calcium, magnesium, and antioxidants. But more importantly, it contains mucilage, a sticky fiber that aids gut health. Why does gut health matter? Because the absorption of calcium, magnesium, and other bone-supporting minerals starts in the gut. An unhealthy gut can't absorb what your bones desperately need. Harold made a decision. For the next 90 days, he would eat okra every single day. Not fried, not buried in sauces, but simply steamed, sautéed, or blended into soups. He paired it with walking and sunshine, and tracked every change in a small notebook. The first few days were simple. The second week brought more energy. By week 4, something strange happened. He stopped using the rail on the staircase. "My knees didn't scream anymore," he wrote. "I can't explain it, but I feel lighter." This wasn't magic. It was nutrition in motion. Okra's high vitamin K1 content helped his body bind calcium into bones, while magnesium improved density. Even more surprising, Harold's digestion improved. No more bloating, irregularity, or that heavy belly feeling. This meant his body was now absorbing nutrients better across the board. The bone-boosting science of okra. What most seniors don't know. When Harold first heard that okra could help strengthen bones, he thought it was just another internet myth. But after his fall and fragile recovery, he was willing to test anything that made biological sense. He wasn't looking for miracle cures, just something real that he could build into his lifestyle. And what he found through research was both simple and powerful. Okra may be one of the most underrated bone-supporting vegetables out there. Let's break it down. Strong bones rely on calcium, but that's just the beginning. The body also needs vitamin K1 to bind that calcium into the bones properly. Without K1, calcium can float around and settle in arteries instead of bones. Okra contains one of the highest plant-based sources of vitamin K1, which supports osteocalcin, a protein that locks calcium into your bone matrix. But that's not all. Okra is a natural source of magnesium, another key mineral in bone formation. Magnesium helps convert vitamin D into its active form. Without enough magnesium, even if you're getting sunlight or taking vitamin D supplements, your body can't fully use it to support bone growth. Harold had been taking calcium supplements for years, but until he added okra, the results were flat. "I never felt any stronger until I gave my body what it needed to absorb the calcium," he said. Okra also contains small amounts of boron and manganese, two trace minerals essential for collagen production and bone repair. Think of it like this: calcium gives your bones hardness, but collagen gives them flexibility. Without flexibility, bones become brittle and easier to fracture. Another benefit of okra is its anti-inflammatory power. Chronic low-grade inflammation, common in older adults, silently weakens bones. Okra's antioxidants, like quercetin and flavonoids, help reduce this inflammation, creating an internal environment more favorable to healing and bone preservation. And then there's the gut. Okra's mucilage coats the digestive tract, supporting gut lining health and encouraging a healthy microbiome. Why does that matter? Because gut bacteria help regulate hormones like estrogen and parathyroid hormone, both of which play critical roles in bone density. A healthy gut equals better mineral absorption and better hormone balance. Harold had no idea all this was happening in the background. He just knew he was feeling better. But when he shared his progress with his doctor, stronger balance, less joint pain, and improved blood pressure, his doctor ran a bone density scan. The results? "We don't usually see gains like this at your age," his doctor said. This wasn't from supplements alone. This was from a vegetable, from something Harold almost ignored. That's when he knew. Okra wasn't a side dish anymore. It was a foundation. Okra every day? Here's how he did it without getting bored. Harold knew himself well. He'd never stick to anything that felt like a diet. He wasn't the type to follow strict food rules or complicated plans. So how did he end up eating okra almost every day for over a year and loving it? The answer was in his approach: simplicity, variety, and joy. After his research convinced him that okra was worth it, Harold made one simple commitment: eat okra at least once a day in any form that makes me feel good. That freedom gave him the space to experiment. He didn't fry it like he used to in his younger years. Instead, he began with easy steamed okra, sprinkled with olive oil, lemon juice, and a pinch of salt. Tasted better than I remembered, he wrote in his journal. Next came soups. Okra thickens broth naturally with its mucilage. Harold made chicken vegetable soup with okra, lentil stew with turmeric and okra, and even okra tomato minestrone. He noticed that when it was cooked gently, the slime he used to hate actually became a comforting, velvety texture. For breakfast, he added chopped okra into his scrambled eggs with onions and peppers. On hot days, he tossed raw okra slices into cucumber salads with apple cider vinegar. On lazy days, he simply sautéed it with garlic and onions. But the real transformation wasn't in the recipes, it was in his mindset. Harold stopped thinking about food as just something to fill his stomach. He began to see each meal as an act of rebuilding. Every bite of okra wasn't just food, it was medicine in motion. And that belief made all the difference. He created rituals around it. On Sundays, he went to the local farmer's market to pick out fresh okra. He'd chat with the vendor, often telling new people, "This little green pod made my bones like steel." He found joy in preparation, even kept a little okra notebook where he jotted down new flavor combos or how his joints felt that day. Some days he missed a serving, but he didn't punish himself. Instead, he doubled down the next day with okra smoothies. Yes, smoothies. Blended with banana, spinach, and a bit of ginger, they were surprisingly palatable. This flexibility kept him consistent. He wasn't perfect, he was persistent. And over time, eating okra became second nature, as easy as brushing his teeth. It wasn't a chore. It was a gift he gave himself daily. The transformation, when the body starts listening to you again. Harold wasn't chasing miracles. He just wanted to walk without fear, to sleep without aches, to bend down and pick up his dog's leash without worrying about his knees snapping. But what he got was far more than that. Over the next 6 months of his daily okra routine, something remarkable happened. His body began listening to him again. It started with balance. One day, while reaching up for a coffee mug, he realized he didn't have to hold onto the counter for support. That hadn't happened in years. It felt like someone had tightened the bolts in my legs, he laughed. Then came the stairs. The rail had always been his safety net. But by month 4, he noticed he could go up and down with a steady rhythm. No wobble, no pause. His legs weren't just stronger, they were more coordinated. His muscles responded quicker. His joints moved cleaner, and then came the scan. His doctor scheduled another bone density check, not because they expected change, but just to update records. The results shocked everyone. There was measurable improvement. It's rare to see this level of gain without serious medical intervention, the doctor said. Harold's skin looked clearer. His nails were stronger. His digestion was smoother. Even his mood had shifted. He smiled more. He cracked jokes again. He said, "I don't know what it is, but I feel like my body wants to cooperate again." Neighbors noticed. One said, "You walk like a man 10 years younger." Another told him, "You've got some kind of glow these days." It wasn't just the okra, of course. It was the discipline, mindset, and consistency that surrounded it. But there's no denying okra played a starring role in his rebound. The vitamins and minerals it delivered daily gave his bones and connective tissues the exact tools they needed to rebuild. Layer by layer, he even returned to gardening. Before, a few minutes outside left him exhausted. Now he was back to trimming hedges, raking leaves, and planting flowers with joy. "I feel sturdy again," he said. Not invincible, but reliable. His body wasn't something to fear anymore. It was a partner again. Harold's message: aging doesn't have to mean breaking. If you met Harold today, you'd never guess he was once afraid to walk across his kitchen floor. At 85, he doesn't run marathons, and he doesn't pretend to be young. But what he does have is a presence, a quiet strength that draws people in. And when they ask what changed, he always smiles and says, "Okra," and the decision not to give up on myself. In his final journal entry from this journey, Harold wrote, "Getting older isn't the problem. It's believing your best days are gone that ruins you." That belief used to haunt him, but not anymore. His message to other seniors is simple. It's never too late to rebuild. Your bones aren't made of stone. They're living tissue, responsive, resilient, and willing to cooperate if you give them the right tools. Harold urges everyone to look beyond pills and ask, what am I feeding my body every single day? He also reminds people that change doesn't have to be big. Start small, he says. A half cup of okra, a short walk, a better night's sleep. It all adds up. He didn't follow a strict program. He followed his intuition, gave himself grace, and made his health a habit, not a chore. But maybe the most powerful part of Harold's story is how he talks about hope. Hope that you can feel strong again, that you can be proud of how you move, that you don't have to fear falling, shrinking, or fading away. But maybe the most powerful part of Harold's story is how he talks about hope. Hope that you can feel strong again, that you can be proud of how you move, that you don't have to fear falling, shrinking, or fading away. He talks about the power of routine, how just 30 minutes a day, prepping vegetables, walking, breathing deeply, caring for your joints, can give you back the sense that you're still in control, that your life is still yours. And he challenges us to look at our plates every day and ask, is this feeding my fear or my future? If you're over 70 and feeling weak, Harold says, don't wait until something breaks. Start now. If you're under 70, he says, start earlier than I did. Your body will thank you later. So what made his bones like steel? Yes, the okra helped, but so did the mindset, the movement, and the commitment to show up for himself, day after day. Harold didn't get younger, but he got stronger. And in a world that expects older people to fall apart, that might be the most powerful victory of all.